the first thing they would do if you worked in a school, what are all the things we need to learn? Then how do we break it up into small chunks and make it more complex month after month, year after year? So you would start with 1 plus 1, A, B, C. Then you would progress 3 multiplied by 3, words and sentences. And you would repeat at this stage over and over again. I can tell you right now, Saul, that 5 multiplied by 5 is 25. And I've made no calculation whatsoever. I just repeated it so many times when I was a child that I subconsciously am aware that 5 multiplied by 5 is 25. That means that then when we go all the way to astrophysics or to poetry, we can apply fundamentals in variable and creative ways. However, if I was an astrophysicist and I had to calculate the basic things like 5 multiplied by 5 every step, I would never solve any high-level creative problems. Therefore, you need to assimilate the fundamentals, and therefore, that after you assimilate fundamentals, it frees up the front part of the brain to focus on higher order problems. So once you broke things down step by step, you would develop a periodized plan for what the teacher should work on at every age based on sensitive phases, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. And we know that this is how the education system is formed. Or the question is, would you send your child to a school where there is no structure? And almost every parent says no to this situation. However, we sometimes feel comfortable to send our kids to a youth academy where they have no structured plan. There was an experiment in California, very similar to what's happening in football today in the 1980s, where they decided to move away from teaching parts of the language in a structured way, piece by piece, and they tried to begin with whole language immersion. So they believed that the teacher shouldn't be the holder of knowledge. They said, let the kids figure it out and be a guide for them. It's important to note that California was the most affluent state in the United States. That's important because affluence directly correlates with academic achievement. If you grew up in a richer neighborhood, you're more likely to have better grades than if you grew up in a poor neighborhood. So the most affluent state in the US, after 10 years, had the second lowest scores in educational attainment in the country. And on review, they moved back to a scientific, structured approach. So these situations have already occurred outside of the football world, and we've seen how people learn.